is now the PFL with Saudi money a serious threat to the UFC, arguably even a bigger threat than Pride FC ever was?
No. Quite honestly, I don't think that there is a threat to the UFC as far as their place in the world of mixed martial arts. The UFC has a stranglehold on every aspect of mixed martial arts. They have the most depth in their talent pool. They're scooping up through the Contender Series and just this endless run of shows. They're scooping up all the regional talent. They've gutted Invicta several times over. They've done everything to corner the market. And when you talk about just the time and attention that it takes to focus on the UFC, there's a reason why there's a lot of people in our positions in media that don't really cover other promotions, because the UFC takes up that much time. It takes up that much effort and resources to cover. It's going to take a gargantuan effort by a lot more than the Saudi-backed PFL to take over what the UFC has done. Now, I'm saying that in the short term. Now, I think maybe long term, if the money from Saudi Arabia keeps flowing into the PFL and they're making the right moves as far as personnel, as far as the type of events they're putting on, as far as knowing their place and then building from there, yeah, then we can talk about something down the line. We can talk about them sort of forcing the situation like they did with the LIV and PGA. We can talk about something like that. But in the meantime, no. It's going to be business as usual. It's going to take a couple years, I think, to really see the effects of this.
I think they are an immediate threat. And I think the best example is Wall Street. Wall Street thinks they're an immediate threat. And I covered on Sportsnaut this week. Stocks for WWE and UFC, who are now kind of linked because they're going to merge soon under this TKO Holdings group. Stocks for both of them dropped after the news of the Saudi investment in PFL. And trust me, guys, I'm not a golf guy. I don't watch golf. But for the job, I've covered golf. And I've covered the LIV, PGA stuff heavily. And there are a lot of similarities between the two, because you know what, PGA is really the UFC of golf. There's DP World Tour and other kind of smaller things like that are like the Bellators and PFL of golf, but PGA has the market share. And what happened with the PGA is LIV Golf changed their business model because they were able to throw insane sums of money at golfers. They didn't get Tiger, they didn't get Rory McIlroy, but they got a lot of good ones, and they forced PGA to have to up their pay rates, up their amounts that they gave away at tournaments. And that's the same thing. UFC makes good money because they have a business model, and their business model, unfortunately, is paying fighters crappy. So if PFL, maybe they won't get Israel Adesanya, maybe they won't get certain guys, but the big thing is they can go after someone like a Peter Yan and say, hey, look, Peter Yan, we're going to throw $2 million at you. UFC's not going to match that. And after a while, they're going to change how the UFC's business model is. I think you nailed it. It may not be right away, but it'll be soon. And look, and just the PJ is the perfect. They forced the PJ, who wanted nothing to do with Saudi Arabia, forced them into a merger, and it only took about a year and a half. And also, Live Golf had no good ratings. They were on the CW, but because they were pulling away these top stars, they forced them to do it. And that's what's fascinating about it. And I think in the end, it's great for fighters because fighters are going to get paid more. Maybe it helps us as media. We're going to cover PFL more and stuff like that. So in a way, I think it's a win-win, really, despite the ugliness of it.